Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going on the Wayback Machine to Module B2, the Keep on the Borderlands. Lots and lots of fun was had at this keep, at least by my group, and I know by hundreds of other groups. This is a classic module that came with the box set. I took a look at the box set a week or so ago on the channel. Now we're going to take a look at Module B2. I'm going to go through cover to cover, and we're going to see what we have inside here. A lot of good memories in this module. I had a really good time with this. Also, please remember to subscribe. Take a look at Patreon. If you can help me out there, that'd be fantastic. End of commercial. Back to this. Today, cover to cover, Keep on the Borderlands, Module B2, on page 121. The Keep on the Borderlands, Module B2 by Gary Gygax. Introductory module for character levels 1 through 4. They were called modules because the thought was that they were modular portions of the game. They would just fit in. They weren't part of the core rules, so they just called them modules. I have no problem with it. I still call them modules. This was out in 1980. Was part of my basic box set, which I took a look at about a week and a half ago on the channel. And here you go. We have the Caves of Chaos. There's all kinds of goodness in here. We had so much fun in this keep. So we start out with the standard stuff, and there's a lot of stuff in here to help a fledgling dungeon master. A good portion of the book's 28 pages, is given over to tips on how to run the game, getting into the game, how you want to be a dungeon master, how your friends are going to enjoy it, that sort of stuff. I like that, and this, of course, is written for basic. That's Module B2, basic. How to be an effective dungeon master, dividing treasure and computing experience. Preparation for the use of this module. I read the heck out of all this as a new DM. I wanted to know how to do it, and I wanted to do it well. So here we start at the Keep in the Borderlands. You have traveled many days, leaving the realm and entering the wilder area of the Borderlands. And this is not set in any specific world, although I have adapted it for Greyhawk. I usually put it down in the Ernst. Is it Ernst? I don't remember off the top of my head, but I have it in Greyhawk. I'll have to show it sometime down the line. But there we have the notes, DM notes about the keep, who's there, false rumors and actual rumors. You can hear about the caves as you're in the keep itself with lots of NPCs. This was incredibly valuable. I would take NPCs straight out of here and play them in other games, just so I had a good thumbprint of how to make an NPC and how to write up a town and all the setup and everything. This was incredibly valuable. We did whole games where they never even left the keep. We did some political intrigue in there. We actually had a player who was interested in running the keep, so we stayed with that campaign for quite a while, and he eventually took over the keep as the commander of the keep. We only did that for a couple of months, though, unfortunately, and then he moved on. He left our group. But that was a lot of fun. Having the keep itself as a base was always useful against the Caves of Chaos, but especially having an NPC being a commander of the keep. Obviously, he'd gotten up to, I think he was 9th level. Rather than establish a keep, he asked, could he just take over this one? So I did a story where I think the commander dies in battle, and he succeeds him for whatever reason I'd come up with, and I made him commander of the keep for a while. The Caves of Chaos, let's face it, we all played here. Sometimes you wouldn't even go back to the keep. You'd just sleep in the woods or stay in the caves themselves. But the Caves of Chaos, these were nasty. Here's a nice little layout of the keep itself, and then some actual reference material that's found in the basic set that they've recreated here, and it's perforated so you can pull this guy out. Obviously I didn't, but you could pull it out, and there's your, for lack of a DM screen, here's your cheat sheet for you. And then continuing on with the caves themselves, the various orc lairs and goblins, kobolds, you name it, they were in here. The one I remember is the ogre cave. This was a big deal. Ogres were way more powerful than anything we'd fought before. And the idea of meeting an ogre was kind of scary at the time. We did take him, and we did quite well, but it was quite a challenge. And then we have a nice torture chamber. What's a nice lair without a torture chamber? Hobgoblins, which were pretty tough at the time. Keep in mind, this is well before any kind of weapon specialization or anything. If your fighter was lucky, he might have a +1 sword and be walking around with maybe a +1, +3 for his strength. So you're talking +2, +4 as your big heavy hitter. Not much. So there we go. An owlbear. There's an owlbear den in here, which is incredibly dangerous. And then we get to the slave pen, because now you end up having to free the slaves and then get them out. This is all kinds of fun. The Minotaur. I had kind of a bet going with one of my DMs about the Minotaur. My character, Lord Sneezy, had progressed to about 5th level. This would be about sometime in late 81 or early 82. And my DM kind of kiddingly said, hey, I have a Minotaur figure I'll give you if your Lord Sneezy can stand toe-to-toe and defeat a Minotaur. I said, heck yes. So we played the game. Everyone knew I had dibs if we encountered a Minotaur. Lo and behold, we did. And Lord Sneezy went toe-to-toe with a Minotaur and beat him. And it was very close. Sneezy was down to about 2 or 3 hit points by the end of it. But I did defeat him, and my DM made good and gave me the miniature. The base broke off the miniature off the legs. So I actually wore it as a key fob for a while until I realized that I had lead in my pocket, and that probably wasn't a good idea. So then I took it out. But yeah, Minotaur, a lot of fun. Fire beetles were very dangerous. Coming down here, the Hall of Skeletons. We used skeletons a ton in the earliest days because of the half damage when using slashing weapons versus a skeleton. That was a tremendous limiter and something to really scare the party. And then, of course, zombies were great too, because zombies had 2 hit dice, rather durable. And then we have the Temple of Evil Chaos. Chambers of the Evil Priest. Evil Priest is 3rd level. Quite a challenge. Amulet of Protection from Goods. You're -2 to hit him. Sturges. We use Sturges all the time. That's a Sturge. Those things are wonderful. Designed and written by Gary Gygax. Layout by Harold Johnson. Lots of art. David LaForce, Earl Otis, and Jim Rosloff. I loved this module. I still love this module. We just don't play it anymore. This was a really good one. This one always felt to me like Temple of Elemental Evil did when it was finally published in 85. There's a lot of this that reminded me, a lot of Temple that reminded me of this. But you get non-player characters, designing floor plans, tips for the players in this thing, a glossary so you could understand some of the strange terms, like a portcullis. I knew what a portcullis was. A big comic book reader, especially Conan, back in the 70s, so I knew what that was. I knew what a pommel was, things like that. Murder holes I knew about. And there we go, the Guild House floor plan. Draw your own floor plan. Before we had access to Xerox handily, that was much more rare in the early 80s. And then additional non-player characters. I used to keep sheets like this all the time. And then we take a look at the back of the cover, which is essentially an ad for all the other fine AD&D stuff you can get your hands, or D&D stuff at this time. The Dungeon Geomorphs, the Outdoor Geomorphs, the Monster Treasures, Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master Guide, Monster Manual, World of Greyhawk Folio, Dungeon Master's Screen, Rogue's Gallery, and then all the different character sheets and adventures that you could have. Gosh, I have just about everything on this sheet now that I think about it. Wow. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm into D&D a little bit. That's a real quick look at Keep on the Borderlands. I have tremendous fun memories of this. This was the one we go to often. If it was just 2 or 3 of us sitting around with nothing to do, we'd go ahead and we'd play Keep on the Borderlands. We'd go into the Caves of Chaos just for fun with 2 or 3 players. And then our big group would go in later. It was just something that we did. I really enjoy the Keep on the Borderlands. I love how much instruction is in here. I love the artwork too. But I love how much instruction was in here. As a new DM, I dog-eared the heck out of this stuff because I really wanted to be smooth with my storytelling and have a lot of fun and just have a good game. So this stuff, the idea for preparation for your game and all that was very helpful. Having access to the monster manual, which by the time Actually, when we were playing this, we were still in basics, so we didn't have the Monster Manual yet. One of my buddies bought that. That was the first book brought into our group, was the Monster Manual. And he eventually went on and bought the Player's Handbook and the DMG. And those were the ones that we switched over to by about October of 80. But, or no, actually, we switched all the way over. I started playing advanced in October of 80. We didn't go completely advanced until about 82, January of 82. I've always kind of marked the beginning of my Greyhawk campaign as when I went completely to advanced Dungeons and Dragons and took out all the stuff that was from basic or the original. So there you have it. There's a nice look at Keep on the Borderlands. An introductory module by Gary Gygax. I hope you enjoyed seeing it. I sure did. This was a tremendous walk down memory lane. I've really enjoyed seeing these. Still lingering a little bit on the 50th anniversary of D&D that I celebrated with my D&D week not too long ago, and still staying with some of the older stuff for right now. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. Thanks for your time. If you liked what you heard and saw, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on page 121.